My name's Tori. I am not yet a member. I'll be joining this May, and I've been attending since December, January. I had been searching for a church for the last year. I grew up in a charismatic evangelical church and was really involved in college, and then realized my senior year that I no longer believed pretty much any of the things that they believed. And so I left in January of 2020 and started going to an Episcopalian church until the pandemic happened. And then I had to just kind of church hop online to figure out like what denomination I felt like I belonged in and what church home would be mine. So I ended up going to a UCC church and a Lutheran church and eventually here. And this felt like the right kind of blend of the things that felt familiar to me, like songs and not quite a structured liturgy and sacraments and formality, but also did not come with all of the baggage, like the theological and religious baggage that my previous church home had come with. So it just felt like the right place for me. And everybody seemed to know and like each other, even on Zoom. So that was a good sign too. I definitely thought about leaving the church entirely for a bit, so in college I was really involved in this evangelical church, but I was also really involved in a Jewish community. I worked for this organization that organized religious and cultural programming for the entire state of Maine, and through that work I just saw how important congregations can be for their communities. That synagogue was foundational to its community and to the whole state of Maine, and people really knew each other and they were making an impact on the community. And I could just see the value of being able to discuss religious texts with other people and the way that it shaped and informed their lives and the way they interacted with the world. And I had no interest in being Jewish, but I was like, okay, this I think could exist in Christianity. And once I discovered the mainline church, I realized, oh, it does exist in Christianity, and the church can be a place where I can have these important conversations with people, where we turn to religious texts to have important conversations without necessarily legislating on people exactly what their lives should look like and what this text means for all eternity. So it's kind of funny that Judaism kind of gave me a way back into religion when I felt like the church might not be a place for me anymore. I think church is important in that way because it brings people together across different generational lines and different beliefs and backgrounds, and that it can be a place where I move outside of my peer group with the same interests and meet people who can challenge me and shape me in a different way and be a supportive community in times that are hard. This year has been really hard because I didn't have that consistent community for most of it. And I just realized, wow, having church people, people who know you, that you show up every week and they recognize you and say hi, and they're from all different backgrounds and not just my one little friend group, is really important. So I think for me it's mostly about support and connecting with people who are willing to shape you in ways you wouldn't otherwise be shaped and challenged.
How do you?
That's part of why I want to intern for the Hopewell Council of Churches, is because I think that community organizing can be a really important place where the church does meaningful work in terms of not just doing work within the community, within the church, but also in the broader community, looking for ways that we can bring about change. And for me, economic justice is really important. I grew up in a pretty low income home and then went to a very, very wealthy college and felt very out of place, and realized, I guess, how much the blue collar environment I grew up in shaped the way that I thought and the opportunities that I had in a way I hadn't realized before. And so I really want to be involved in economic justice and community. And I think the Hopewell Council and Churches, with the work with Chubbies and those kinds of things, has the opportunity to do that. So for me, this year has been really sad to witness the church be so divided politically, partly because it's in my own family. They don't understand that I'm still a Christian, and I have a hard time understanding their Christianity now. And I think I would really love to see the church kind of bridge that divide and think about what it means to follow Jesus together and to maybe let some of the things that we've held so tightly go. And I would love to see the church be a safe place for every person. And I think right now, the way that the evangelical church is representing Christianity in America, it doesn't feel like a safe place for every person. And I know that it wasn't a safe or healthy place for me for a long time. And so I think that is what I would like to see, a church that's not divided, a church that comes together, is willing to change and willing to open up the table to everybody. I want to learn what this kind of living out Christianity in a different way than I learned how to do it. I want to learn that here, and I also want to learn different ways of following Jesus in the world and thinking about what it means to be a Christian in a community, and to just be able to be a witness to the community here and see what that looks like firsthand. Is what I'm hoping